So just give me a
Okay.
thumbs up once it's live
Yeah.
so that I don't have to
All right.
ask you. All right.
All right. Yeah. That's good.
Hello, and a very good afternoon to everyone joining us this evening. How has your day been? How is it in your area? Welcome, welcome everyone. We welcome you to our Learning Lab Series at TESIS Education Group. Welcome. Um, it's always an explosive section we have every time we gather here, and a lot of learning, a lot of take home, a lot of information passed and all of that. So we welcome you today to another interesting episode of our Learning Labs series. This evening, we are going to be discussing a very vital topic that says from safe spaces to brave spaces, rethinking supportive learning environments. Of course, supportive environments in education is a subject matter that is very, very important. And as educators, we all know how important it is to always support and empower students. And so we are gathered this evening with facilitators who are going to help us discuss this matter and teach us how to create safe spaces and safe learning environments for our students. So once again, I welcome everyone to this series, and we're going to begin immediately. We have our speakers in the house already, and we're going to kick off immediately. I'll be introducing them, and then we'll hand over to them so that we can move on. We have Ms. Uzoma Uduma in the house. Please say hello to us, ma'am.
Hello, everyone. Good evening. Nice
Good
to be
evening.
here.
Thank you so much for being here. We appreciate you. We also have Ms. Omotolani Hassan. Please say hello, ma'am.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for joining.
Good evening, ma. So nice to have you here. Thank you very much. We have our convener, Bosman Adedukun, in the house as well.
Hello. Good evening, everyone. Trust we are doing great.
Good evening, sir. Yes, we are doing great. Thank you so much. And the team member, Ireti Oluwa, is in the house.
Hello. Good evening, everyone. Nice to have you here.
Good evening. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. All right, so right about now, we're going to kick off with our very first speaker, and it is my pleasure to invite Ms. Uzoma. Before she begins, I'd like to quickly read her citation. Uzoma Iduma is a dynamic educator and edtech leader with over 16 years of experience spanning early years, Key Stage 1 and Key Stage 2 education. She had successfully led year groups and cross-functional teams with growing reputation for transforming traditional teaching approaches through digital innovation and strategic coaching. In her current role as Assistant Head of School for Teacher Development, Technology and Innovation at Children's International School, Lekki, Lagos, Uzoma champions the purposeful integration of technology into teaching and learning. She designs CPD frameworks that equip teachers to use interactive tools and virtual learning environments, ensuring that every educator is both confident and competent in the digital classroom. Previously serving as an instructional coach, Uzoma developed content, mentored staff, and led initiatives that promoted tech-enhanced instructional delivery aligned with school values. She's passionate about helping educators embrace AI, automation, and digital pedagogy to enhance, engage, engagement, and impact. Uzoma holds a BA in English from the University of Uyo, a PGCEI from the University of Nottingham, UK. She is accredited Jolly Phonics and grammar trainer with Jolly Learning Limited, UK, and a certified TESOL TEFL educator, demonstrating her commitment to global best practices in language instruction. Driven by her belief that growth is intentional, not accidental, Uzoma is deeply invested in reshaping teachers' mindsets, integrating technology into everyday practice, and preparing educators for the future of learning powered by innovation, creativity, and human-centered technology. Ladies and gentlemen, please, it is my pleasure to welcome Ms. Uzoma Uduma to the house.
All right, thank you very much. You've said it all, so I'm just going to dive in. Thank you very much. Once again, warm welcome to our viewers. I would like to say a very big well done to Thesis Education Group for always reeling out these very interactive, relevant topics for us to study. When I saw this, I was actually so immediately I saw it, I was like, okay, this is so good. I'm passionate about this. So I must say that it's very relevant in this time and age and space to talk about safe places, moving students from safe spaces to brave spaces. I totally love that. So we're rethinking supportive learning environments. And I'm going to just go ahead and start. I am just going to be talking about some of the experiences I have had. Most of the times I present, they are from experiences I have had. So they are very relatable. The first thing I want to say when it comes to moving from safe spaces to brave spaces is to acknowledge the fact that we do need to have students in safe places. So to begin with, we want to have students who are safe in their environments, who feel safe in their environments, in their learning environments. We want to make sure that students are happy to come to school. We want to make sure that they're happy to be in the classroom. So that means that we need to have students in their comfort zones. All right. So that is where we're starting from. For me, when I hear safe space, I'm thinking comfort zone, where the child is safe, where the child is comfortable. That is where we all need to start. However, we need to move away from that. Students need to break away from their comfort zone. Is comfort zone okay? Absolutely. But should we allow students to stay in their comfort zone? Absolutely not, because if we allow students stay in their comfort zone, they will not be able to learn. They will not be able to move. They will not be able to develop and grow, progress. So breaking out of the comfort zone, before we get to the zenith, before students will get to the space where they are now brave, once they step out of their comfort zone, we have what we call the fear zone. Yes, of course, the word comfort means you are okay. You're not stressed out. You're just fine. So comfort zone, what it looks like in the classroom is the student who is just okay. When questions are asked, other students are asking, and the children and the one particular student is okay not answering, and teacher is not bothering the child. So the child is just okay. However, that child is not going to learn. So in our learning environment, as supportive as we are, as much as we want students to be comfortable and safe and happy, we want to move children out of this comfort zone. And we need to realize that breaking out of the comfort zone is not just a walk in the park. Once they break out of their comfort zone, they're first of all going to encounter their fear zone. Fear zone is where it's like, oh my God, I used to be in this space where I could just stay. Nobody's calling my name. Suddenly, they are calling me to answer questions in the class. All eyes are on me. I am not confident. I don't think when I answer the question, I'm going to get it. I feel people are going to laugh at me. That's the fear zone. And it is totally okay. It's totally natural. Fear zone is also where a student is finding excuses not to do anything. For example, when students are always taking permission to leave the classroom to go and use the restroom, is because they are avoiding something. And that thing that they're avoiding is what should lead them to their growth. However, that is them trying to step out of comfort zone. So stepping out of comfort zones, first of all, students will encounter the fear zone. However, as educators, we need to help students overcome that fear. We need to help students move away from that fear zone into learning zone. Comfort zone is so comfortable that the student is not making any effort. So once they step out, they encounter the fear zone. However, if we help them to achieve, if we help them to overcome that fear, telling them it's okay to be afraid. In fact, in school, in my school last week, we were interviewing students for prefectship roles. And of course, these students know us. I was in the panel, and these children know me. When we see in school, they call, we're all playing and all that. But once it became an interview, I was sitting on the panel on this other side of the table, and they were on the other side. Suddenly, they became jittery, they became nervous. And there was this particular student who came in. This is one of the boys, like, very brave boy. He's like, oh, this boy, oh my God, very confident. But this boy just came in. Immediately we said, hi, we called his name. How are you? Please have a seat. Immediately he sat down, he started crying. He broke down into tears. And this is a boy. He was crying and shaking. So of course, trust, we all went to him. Are you okay? We gave him water, cleaned his eyes. We even asked him if he was okay continuing or he wanted to continue later. At the end of the day, we had to excuse him to go and calm down. By the time he came back, we had to let him know that you having cried earlier is not going to affect your interview at all. So we all went ahead and shared with him how all of us at one point or the other, we felt nervous. I have been presenting before and my mouth went dry. Yes, it happens to all of us. So that was us helping him to face his fear, to get out of his comfort zone, to embrace that fear zone. And guess what? He interviewed and he interviewed very well. He scaled to the next level of prefectship. That is what we should be doing as educators, helping students to know that it is okay to cry, it is okay to feel your emotions, it is okay to do whatever. Let's help them get out of that fear zone into the learning zone. And of course, in the learning zone, of course, they will still face challenges and problems. They will still face obstacles, but that is where they'll be learning skills. That's where they're learning skills. That is where they are extending their potential. And of course, from the learning zone, we then move on to the growth zone. So this comfort zone that we all say, oh, leave them, let them just be in their comfort zone. No, that's not a learning or growth place. So from comfort zone to fear zone to learning zone, and from learning zone to growth zone. And that is where we need to be at if we want to get students to the brave spaces. So the first experience or the first strategy I want to share is breaking students out of their comfort zones. That's the first one. Now, the second part is what we call the ZPD. All right. ZPD means zone of proximal development. This was an educational method or strategy or pedagogy by, I think, I can't remember, Lev Vygotsky. Yes, it was a method by Lev Vygotsky. That's his name. So remember, we've moved students out of comfort zone. They've faced their fears, they've gone to the learning zone, and they've gone to the growth zone. Now, we also need to help children in this zone. Again, if you look at this, if you look at this image, you have zone of proximal development is like a space. So if you look at this image, the white space is called current understanding. Current understanding is where the children or the students can learn unassisted by himself or by herself. All right. Now, between the space, the white space, and the blue space, what we need to help students do is the orange space. The blue space is out of reach. That is where the students is like the unknown thing. That's what the children do not know. This is not even about, they do not know it. So between the place where they can learn unassisted without any help and the place where we have out of reach, they can't even attain that. That is the zone of proximal development, ZPD. Okay, it's also called scaffolding. That's actually where we scaffold. So zone of proximal development is the thing we are doing between what a child can do and what a child cannot do. It's in that middle ground where we are helping them. We're scaffolding. Scaffolding is a building, is a construction method where they put all these frames to help support the house, and at the end of it, all those frames are removed and the house can stand by itself. That's the same method that was brought into education. So scaffolding is when a child cannot do something, for example, and you give a little bit of help to that child. A child cannot lace their shoe, for example, and you just take the strand and help the child put it in the hole, and the child has learned how to put that strand into the hole, and then you step back and let the child do it. That is ZPD. That's another method, another strategy that we can use to help students move from safe spaces to brave spaces. It's very important that we scaffold, okay? Scaffolding does not mean we're doing things for the students. If we do that, they will not be brave. We need to just give a little bit of assistance or guidance, enough for them to be able to carry on, so that at the end of the day, they are doing those things by themselves. So we need to consider ZPD, zone of proximal development, also involving scaffolding. That's another strategy we can use. Then I would like to talk about what I call, or what is called, student autonomy. Now, there is no way we can move students from their safe spaces to brave spaces if we are not giving them the opportunity to be independent. So student autonomy is a strategy, or is a method where we are allowing students, we're giving students opportunities. The image on the screen is about, you can see that this particular child, there are different areas, there are options, okay? You can go this way, you can go this way, you can go that way, you can go the other way. Student autonomy is giving children that independence. It's allowing them to choose activities. For example, in the classroom, you're teaching maths, you're teaching science, and there's only one thing to do, only one activity. And the particular, I don't like it. That activity doesn't appeal to me. If I do not have that power to be able to say, okay, I would like to do something else, or I would like to do it this way, then there is no student autonomy. Student autonomy is you giving children enough power to say, okay, this is what the textbook has said. I would like to do it this other way. What educators usually fear about giving student autonomy is that they think that when students are independent, then the teacher's power is lost. In the first place, we should not be holding power in the class. We are facilitators. Educators are facilitators. We're not authority. We're not like the monarchs in our classes. We're supposed to facilitate learning. So give students the opportunity to choose. Give them the opportunity to think differently. Give them the opportunity to say, I would like to do this thing in this particular way. The fear is that you will lose control as a teacher. However, what we should be holding on to is, what is the learning objective? So in my class, right, my learning objective is to help children be able to add 3-digit numbers. Now, that's my goal. How the students now do it in the class, it's okay. I do not have to force 12 children, 15 children, 20 children to be doing something the same way. 7 plus 3 is 10, 5 plus 5 is 10, 20 minus 10 is 10. That is what adult autonomy is all about. Let children be able to do things their own way, but at the end of the day, you are achieving the same goal. You're achieving the same objective. So we need to be able to give students autonomy. We are in the 21st century, and these are Gen Alphas that we're teaching. Some Gen Zs, some Gen Alphas, and we're going to already have there's Gen Omega coming, and then there's also Gen Beta. That's the world we're living in. These children grew up with technology. So you can't force them to sit down in class for 5 hours, just sitting down. They need to move around. They need to be able to feel that they have control over what they're doing. They need to own their learning. So that is student autonomy. The next thing we need to consider that is closely related to what we just talked about. Let children challenge the status quo. We should stop all these. That is how we've been doing it. Do you know how long I've been teaching? I've been teaching for 35 years. I've been doing this for this. Excuse me? The world has moved away from that. The world has so moved away. Now, there's a current trend, all right? I listened to one of the there's a particular guy abroad, a foreign educator, all right? He was saying something, and that makes really good sense. In this age and time, it's almost looking like 4 years in the university, right? Like school, going to school, and then 4 years in the university. It's almost a waste now. And I'm using that word very carefully. It's almost a waste now. Why? Because the way the world is moving on now, by the time you finish 4 years learning something, that skill you're trying to learn has become obsolete. The world now is like we're living in 6 months chunk of times. In 6 months, the skill you had before, like the skill I had in January, by June I have to be checking whether it's still relevant. Exactly. That's the world we're living in now. So you cannot force children to just sit in one place and accept the method you used 12 years ago. No. Sometimes you say something and the child says, no, sorry, I checked last night online, or I checked on social media, or I read it thing. What you said, that's not how it is anymore now. Yes, give children that opportunity in the class. Let them be able to say, oh, me so person, you said A, but I think it's actually B. And then what you should be doing as an educator is, okay, wow, all right, let's look at it together. There are times when a child asks me a question, and even though I know it, I'm like, okay, let's research. Let's look at it together. But what I'm doing is giving that child that power to say, yes, you can actually question things. You can challenge me. Let's learn to allow children challenge us. It is not rudeness. I know there's this African mentality. It's not rudeness. It's us again going back to the autonomy. It's us giving them that opportunity to be independent. Let them question. Let them say, can we do it this way? And together you can look at it. At the end of the day, when they feel heard, when they feel that they are part of the process, then that is what will move them to the brave space. So let's let students challenge the status quo. And that leads us to the very next one, which is let them fail. It's okay to fail. All right. Most time, oh my God, I've seen parents who, there's a particular child in a particular school I went to. That child is so afraid to fail. And when you hear failed, you would think it's about getting maybe 0 out of 10. This failing is about maybe out of 20, she gets 19 over 20. And then all hell is let loose because she's crying and wailing because when she gets home, it's going to be war. It's a case of, why did you fail one? Come on. Come on. A child has gotten 19 out of 20. Come on. How we should be measuring success is, you were here, you were in place A this week. By next week, you have moved from A to B. That is growth. By the other week, you have moved from B to C. That is growth. We shouldn't be measuring success by numbers or scores. A child can get 20 out of 20 and the child still doesn't know anything. In the exam, the child will still fail. So let's allow children to fail, all right? I watched a video online where a mother was telling a child, a toddler actually, the toddler was pouring water into a cup, and it got to a point where the mother was telling him, it's okay, if you keep pouring, it's going to spill. And the child said, yeah, let's see how it's going to spill. And the child kept pouring, and of course the water started spilling. Now, this is where it got interesting. The mother did not get upset, even though she had told him before. And the child said, yeah, let's see it. I want to see how it spills. And the child kept pouring and the water spilled. Usually you will get upset. I told you to not do it. You did it. But the mother allowed the child to do it and fail. And then the child learned. Next time, that child is not going to have anybody tell him when to stop. That is failing forward. You do something, you don't get it, you fail. However, you have learned it. Next time you get it right. That's what it means by failing forward. If we don't allow students to fail, they will not get to the brave spaces. They will not get to be brave. A child has to be brave enough to fail and say, it's okay. It's okay. It's not a competition. I have learned. I think the owner of KFC, I mean, he started blowing up, and then we have KFC today. He started doing everything he's doing now at the age of 75. Yes. But he had failed and failed and failed and failed and failed. The same thing with the author of what was this? Harry Potter. She took that book to so many publishers and they kept saying, no, this is not good. Oh, this is like this. And finally, boom, it worked. All right. So if we do not fail, how do we learn? So let's allow students to fail. When they fail and learn, failing and learning means failing forward. And it's really okay. Let's help them in that process of not getting it, of getting no. Let's teach children to accept rejection. How does a child deal with rejection? Rejection would come. In the prefect election interview I said we did, out of 21 spots, we needed 21 prefects, and out of the 21, 57 students applied, and we only needed 21 spots. What will happen to all those who wouldn't win? That's failure. How will they deal with it? We had to learn. We had to bring them and talk to them and tell them, just because you didn't get this doesn't mean you're a nobody. So we need to help students learn when somebody tells you no, how do you deal with it? How do you deal with your emotions? So that is failing forward. For students to get to the brave spaces, they need to learn how to fail forward, and we need to help them do that. All right. Finally, because I know I have 30 minutes, finally, we have what we call design thinking. In the age and time of technology, design thinking is the way to go. Again, it's okay to be safe, but how do we get to the brave spaces? Brave spaces where our students can compete with contemporaries in the world, in the global space. How? Design thinking. Design thinking is just a way of making learning solve real problems. Everything we're teaching in the classroom is solving a problem. That is why we should not be just focusing on grades, all right? So even when you're learning about sentences, how can you use sentences, for example, to write proposals? Proposals that you can send to organizations. Can you write a proposal? Can you do report writing? So we're not just learning about sentences because it's an English class that we need to learn. We need to design our learning. We need to design our education, our classroom lessons. We need to design them such that they are solving real world problems. Two methods or two strategies or two concepts. One is inquiry-based learning. Okay, when we talk about design thinking, we're talking about inquiry-based learning. Inquiry-based learning is student-centered. Is where students are investigating. When a child asks you a question, don't be too quick to give them the answer. Tell them to go and investigate. Go and search online. Investigate. Go and interview people. What do you think? That is inquiry. Let them make inquiries. Let them learn through inquiries. That's design thinking. Why do we have how did we get to the number of pie chart? 3.14. Is it 3.14 or 41? Yes, 14. 3.14. How did we get to that point? Let them go and find out. Why is it called, is the earth flat or round? Go and find out. That's inquiry-based learning, and that's design thinking. Connect lesson to real world problem. How will you use long division method to solve a problem? You're in the supermarket. How will you use that to solve a problem? Every single thing we're teaching in class is not just theory. let's connect it to real life situations. So inquiry-based learning is one way that we can achieve design thinking. And the second one is project-based learning. Project-based learning is where we are giving children real-world problems to go and solve. That might appear like something like they used to do on the television, like a like Golden Search, like what do they call them? TV reality shows like Golden Search, Ultimate Search, yeah. Golden Ultimate Search. So give them real life projects, okay? Let them solve a problem in real life, in real time. That is project-based learning. Everything should not revolve around children sitting down and you talking, and they just sitting down and just getting and getting and getting. If we keep doing that, we are just simply helping children to stay in their safe spaces. However, what we want to do is to move them to brave spaces where they can challenge the status quo, where they can solve real problems, where they can question things. They can solve real problems. They can create their own things. Children in China and all these Asian countries, some of the apps we go to Play Store and App Store to download, they were built by children as homework, as assignment. That is, those are children who have gone into their brave spaces. So that is it from me in this section. I hope I have been able to convince not confuse you, that we really need to move our students from just being safe in their and learning environments to brave spaces where they are confident and they are challenging and they are not afraid to fail. That is where we should be. Most of the successful, Albert Einstein, the person who invented the light, they all tried and tried and tried and tried and tried 999 times, 99 times, so many times before they got it. If we don't allow our students to fail, to learn, to make these inquiries, we will never get them to brave spaces. So let's allow them to think. Let's allow them to inquire. Let's allow them to create. Let's allow them to ask, so that at the end of the day, we know we are raising students who are not only being supported, but they are allowed to lead in their world. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you so very much, Ms. Uzoma. That was a powerful session. Yes, indeed, we have to get our students away from their comfort zones so that they can be the best that we want them to be. I appreciate you for coming, and I will be happy to take your questions. Anyone who has a question, please just drop it in the chat box, and we will share with Ms. Uzoma as we quickly move on to our second speaker. Please, as soon as I hear your questions, as soon as I see them, I would nudge her. We'll move on quickly to our second speaker, as she also comes to share on safe spaces to brave spaces, rethinking learning environments. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me as we welcome Ms. Omotolani Diana Hassan. She's an entrepreneur with 15 years teaching experience, both in Nigeria and abroad. Her experience cuts across being a classroom teacher in Lekki, Lagos State, a KS1 coordinator and special needs leader in northern Nigeria, and an expert teacher in the UAE. She studied French at the Olabisi Onabanjo University in Ogun State, Nigeria, and then a postgraduate diploma in education from the University of Nottingham, UK. She also completed a master's degree in educational leadership and administration at the Walden University, USA. Omotolani has been using Jolly Phonics for 13 years and is an accredited trainer by Christopher Jolly Phonics. She has trained teachers in private schools in Lagos and co-trained teachers in government schools in Akwa Ibom and Cross River States, Nigeria. She trains, mentors, teaches, and consults for schools and shares insights on parenting on her social media platforms. As an expert teacher, she attends the Jolly Phonics Conference in the UK with other accredited teachers all around the world. Additionally, she runs a business that produces exciting classroom and school resources. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me as we welcome Ms. Omotolani Hassan.
Thank you very much. Thank you, everyone. Good afternoon or evening. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you, Mrs. Oma, for that powerful presentation. As ever, my greetings to Prof as well, Miss Eunice and Miss Ireti, for all the good work you're doing. Thank you, thank you, thank you. All right, so you pardon me, I have my, let's say virtually outstation. And but I definitely have to do this. I've sent my link to my PP to Miss Eunice, and also to please check your phone, and Miss Ireti, if you can help me project. I'm using my daughter's gadget right now, so I'm unable to really share, but if you can see it on your phone, you can share. Have you seen it? Has it downloaded?
Yes, we have, and we're working to project it. So please bear with us.
Okay. Because Ms. Ireti said it's still downloading on so I forwarded it to you. Okay. All right, but we'll go on regardless. So I'll be using what I have on my phone, which is the same you have. Mrs. Oma came from the point of sharing the ZPD with us and how it affects and flows into children in their safe spaces, where we have to take them from one point to another and all of that. So I'll be coming from a softer angle. Like she said, she also shared experiences of how they were able to, the experience she had recently where the children were contesting for posts in school, and so many of them wanted to get one role, just the way it happens in the real world, where sometimes we have 50 presidential candidates, and the different parties will do their elections, and they will stream down to maybe 10 primaries, then to the last zone where we can have just about 3 or 4, and life has to go on. The winner will win, then others will also learn to, move on. So now, when it concerns children, the first thing, even before we start having children, an adult should consider is, am I ready? Do I have what it takes for me to take care of the child? Am I committed to the protection? Am I committed to the provision? Am I committed to the nurturing? Am I committed to the guiding? Am I committed to everything? So it's always important for adults, because of course the institution of making babies is adult-based. Grow up, be an adult, then choose, how or when you want to have your children. So from the word go, there should be an embryo, there should be a womb, there should be a house, there should be a home, there should be places that are safe, that our children will be kept safe, regardless of whatever is happening everywhere. So from the home, of course, nurturing will take place right from when a woman is pregnant. She'll ensure she buys the baby cots. Even most times some babies don't even cooperate to use the cots. But as a parent, you want to buy a baby cot where the child will sleep and be safe and all of that. To the point where, you nurture the child in the womb, taking the correct supplement, nutrition and everything, going for x-rays, taking your medication, making sure that everything you need to know or to do, you do it as a parent before having that child. So it's always a flow into the other. Then when you have the baby, of course, the way you carry a baby is different from the way you carry a 5-year-old. The way you hold the head, you hold the neck, the sleeping posture, making sure that things that can suffocate the baby is not around it. So the child naturally, from home should or is expected to have a high level of safety. In the home, or things that the baby can pull, maybe wires or baby lock doors or things like that, it should be taken care of. Now, when we transit into the school, as a school, definitely every time a parent comes to enroll their children and hand them over to us, it is them saying, okay, what's your fee? ₦1 million. How they want ₦1 million. Anytime I bring my child to you as a school or to you as a teacher or a teacher, I have transferred the protection of safety of my child to you. Meaning, I'm bringing my child to school this morning. Definitely when I'm coming back to pick up my child, I will pick up my child hale and earthy, just the way I brought my child to you. So definitely that means that the school, of course, apart from the home, is saddled with that responsibility to ensure that there is safety. And that's why a lot of schools, even the low-income schools to high-ended schools, they ensure that they don't joke with health and safety. So from the walkway, the stairs, the classrooms, the way the wooden chairs on tables are arranged or anything, no sharp objects anywhere, safety first. Before anything can take place in a school, safety has to be the goal. Even if a child doesn't learn anything on a normal school day, at least the child should be ill and healthy without injuries, without calling to say, oh, the child has fainted, without calling to say, oh, the child has transited, God forbid, you know, all those kind of things. So a school has a high level of duty of care to ensure safety. So every school day, the main focus is safety of the children. Now, when it comes to the teaching and learning part of what we are talking about, what every lesson takes care of is you're taking the child from known to unknown. Whatever the child can relate with, whatever the child can resonate with is what you're going to start with. And that's why let's even take preschool, where children are expected to learn in dancing, jumping, playing, manipulating things, sorting and arranging. It is what they can relate with first. Then you as an educator would now decide to take them from, okay, these are numbers. This is how we can go about learning. How many pencils do I have here? So what is this? What number is this? So you start relating it to them, where they don't feel that they are being burdened. They feel they're having fun. So within that confine of what you know they can do, to that point of what you want them to learn after each lesson or after every school day, it is our responsibilities as educators to ensure that, you know, everything is in place. Now, when we go to why does this topic matter today? Now, this topic matters today because more than ever before, there's a high level of awareness amongst parents, teachers, educators, schools, and policymakers. There's a high level of awareness, things that we do not know before because of the digitalization and the heavy use of social media and internet. We are now more aware. We know what is going on in a Chinese classroom. We know what is going on in a Japanese classroom. We know what is going on in an African classroom because they're all on the internet. So we learn things easily, we learn things quickly, we are able to adopt some things, we are able to drop some things, and as much as we can, safety is something that we cannot joke with, especially with children. Any society that is not focused on safety of the children is a society that is going down the drain. And that's why when we hear information about unfortunate incidents, I don't want to mention names, but there's a country that, you know, has been in the news back to back about somebody going into a school and shooting sporadically into the air and children losing their lives and teachers losing their lives. It causes a lot of PTSD, even for those of us who are not in that zone. Because that country is known for security, surveillance, and all of that, but things are still happening. And definitely it is a blow on the safety nest of that institution or that country. And definitely when you see children who are and unfortunately it's happening, or even teachers who are protecting the children and they lose their lives in line of duty, and we are thinking, what are we doing? Why do we have to channel such cruelty to children and their faces? Yeah, so it is now more than ever to talk out and to continually importance of safety in our zone, that if anything happening to anybody's brain and you feel that you used to have people, think of any other place, but not to school. If you're angry with the policy of a country, you're angry with the government, why, or your upbringing or something, channel it somewhere else, not where children who are innocent, they don't know about your life problems. They're not the reason for your problems. So why should you bring your anger towards such children by doing harm? So this is a topic that will always come into play. Now, when we get into meaningful dialogue, it's always a very tricky thing. Even in Nigeria, we've had cases this year and last year where a child went to school. I think it was in a school in Abuja, and toddler, I think the child was about 4 or 5 years old. And the mother was called that the child gave up. You know, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Is the co-host? Okay.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, so when that incident happened in Abuja, right? Oh, thank you. Thank you. I can see it now. Okay, so yeah. So when that incident happened in Abuja, of course, we were concerned to say, how could a 4-year-old or 5-year-old go to school? And the next thing, the mother is called and told that the child has passed away. What happened to the child? Of course, we are going to raise questions. We are going to ask, what happened to the child? Was it an electrocution? Was it somebody hitting the child? Was it that the child fainted? And when whatever happened, what action was taken? What precautions? Where was the school nurse? What did she do? Did they just leave the child there? Was the child rushed to the hospital? So questions will come. Now, that was a big question mark on the safety level of that school. A very big question mark to say, you have to account. You cannot just say, oh, the child passed away. And most times when these unfortunate incidents happen, schools are yet to know the best way to approach these unfortunate incidents. And I think that's where a lot of us who are here should keep educating our spaces to say, look, even when the child is at the house, the child can unknowingly maybe put the hand into a functioning socket or something and get electrocuted. Or maybe the child fell off the stairs. For those living in maybe high-rise buildings, I've seen some videos where my heart will almost jump out of my mouth. A woman was by the window side in the house, I think it's all these Arab countries, and the mother just bent to pack some clothes, and the child was standing on a long stool by the window side and plunged downstairs, right beside the mother, within just 2 minutes, because it was a CCTV footage. So incidents, unfortunate incidents also happen in the home. However, as long as another adult or an institution is charged with the safety of the children, whatever happens to that child within that time is their sole responsibility. Sole responsibility. So if an unfortunate thing happened in our safe spaces in this school, how should the school handle it? Number one, how should the teacher, for example, it happened in the class, how is the teacher supposed to handle it? Is it by ignoring the child when you see the child is behaving somehow, or maybe the child has an internal issue that is not even accident prone? Now, when was the child attended to by a school nurse, if there is one? If there is none, was the child carried to a functional health facility? Or does the school have a hospital that is attached to that hospital, that they know that anytime there's an emergency from this school, we have to act? Do they have the medical personnel? Do they have the equipment to be able to, maybe like an oxygen mask or whatever first aid treatment for the child? Because sometimes they might even take the child to a hospital that has nothing. We are in the country, we know what's going on. So it is the duty of the school to ensure that you have all that sorted before you say you want to call yourself a school. Now, when, for example, the unfortunate thing happens, how are you handling it? Is it that there's nobody to talk to the parent? The parent has the right to ask questions. How are you responding to those questions? Are you empathetic? Are you sorry? Are you sober? Or you're defensive and aggressive? Because you own the child the duty of a safe place. But we know, like I said earlier, things do happen. Okay, so this meaningful dialogue should be an unending one. Schools just resumed everywhere, well, almost all the places in the world this September. And you'll be surprised that with all the preparations some schools do for resumption, some might even have a talking section, like a discussion about health and safety. They can have all the time to do decoration of the classroom. They can have all the time to do the curriculum, to submit their weekly plans, yeah, to do children's class allocation. But some schools will still not find it important to sit down and talk about the health and safety of the children in their schools. And that's the whole essence. You are collecting two people's children, 100 children under your roof. You've not sat down as a team and as a school to say, if anything should go wrong, if a child should do this, immediately send to the school nurse. Some schools don't even have a school nurse. And as a parent, are you asking questions? Are you checking? Is the nurse visible? A nurse should not just sit down in the office. The parent should be able to see, oh, yes, I saw the nurse in her office. I saw her walking past. Should be an active member of the school community. So this conversation is one that should not stop, not just in Nigeria, but everywhere. Okay, please, the next slide. Respect, non-judgment, and comfort. Okay, the question is, what are safe spaces? A safe space is where the children are and they are not open to bullies. They are not open to accident-prone objects. They are not open to injuries. They are not open to abuses. They are not open to unfavorable conditions. I remember when we were growing up, unlike now, then after school, you come home and you have lunch. Maybe you want to take a quick siesta. You will be stretching your neck to see your neighbor come out to play. We'll go outside, play in the sand, have fun, build sandcastles, do suwe, do tente, because our community was safe. Not that incidents don't happen, but they were very far in between. We enjoyed our safe spaces as children. We'll play outside, maybe in front of house A, or we go to house B, but of course your parents know, oh, you're within this axis. And even then, other people's mothers are watching you and protecting you as well. So the communal safe spaces worked very, very well. Because you know that if you do, in quotes, rubbish, Emeka's mother will see you and scold you. And if I as well see something that another child is doing, I would correct that child. So your safe space should be a definition of where there will be respect, there will be non-judgment, but of course correction will be there, and comfort. Then also a sense of belonging and trust. My child is going to Mrs. Oma's house. I am 100% sure I can sleep and snore because I know she will take care of my child. Oh, my child is going to Miss Ireti's class in September. I trust Miss Ireti. She's a seasoned teacher. She's experienced. She knows how to handle children. I don't have any problem or concerns. And if there's going to be any, she will promptly do the right thing and she will let me know. So that means that any institution, group of persons, or one person who is in charge of children owe that duty of care. And we should have that currency of trust that he or she is going to take care of the children. Now, limitation of safe spaces. Too much comfort, avoidance of hard truth. Mrs. Omar said something earlier. She said, yes, it's good to have safe spaces for children, but do we challenge them as well? Are we just going to say, oh, it's okay, this is what you know, we don't need to know? From that safe space, we have to still give that allowance for the child to move, to do things, to explore. When she explained and gave an example that there was a child who was doing something and the child said, yes, the water can spill. And the water did spill and Evans didn't fall. It's part of the process. Just like when a child is learning psychomotor skills, yeah, or you said you want to do trading, or what's it called in Montessori, the child will make a lot of mistakes. Trading, not with even tiny thread or needle, but there's a way those ones are. The child has to keep practicing. So from what the child is comfortable doing, we have to move to what would the child needs to do next. Definitely in the ambit of safety. And we have avoidance of hard truth. So there are some things that, like the child told the mother, yes, mommy, the water can spill. And it's the truth, because whatever it is you do in life, it's either it works or it does not work. Oh, it's be very good for things to work. We'll be happy. We'll see results. The outcome is beautiful. But you all can't have it all clear blue all the time. There'll be some times that it's not just working. Or I'm contesting for a position now. Maybe I want to be a local government chairman, and we're about 10. I have the right to contest, yes, but I don't have the right to win. Whatever processes is laid down, maybe appointments or election, I have to succumb to the process. And if I don't win, Evans will not fall. So now going to the next point, the risk of silence and surface level dialogue. When we choose to be silent and we don't talk, just like we're having meaningful discussions and saying, well, in my school, they didn't do us any health and safety training. Let me keep quiet. Have you as an educator suggested it? To say, maybe you tell your land manager or the school owner, can we have a discussion, a training on health and safety? How many schools do fire drill? Some children have even never heard of fire drill before. And I know some schools, they don't joke with it. They do not joke with it at all. They ensure they do it. And they have all the apparatus in place. Nobody prays for a fire incident, but it happens. So what do we know prior to that time to say, okay, this is what we need to do? Yeah. So if we are silent about all these things, it's not going to solve anything. So surface level dialogue. Okay, maybe they call it staff meeting. You make a suggestion, they call it staff meeting and said, okay, guys, whenever there's a fire outbreak, just make sure that you do this, just make sure that you do that. Or if you hear surface level, no substance. No substance. Even in some people's homes or offices, they might have fire extinguishers. How many of us know how to use it? So the next slide, what are brave spaces? Courage over comfort. That's the core idea. Courage. Now, you will know that one of the things that any human being can have is the courage and audacity. The people who succeed, I think, how did Mrs. Soma put it earlier? Growth is intentional. When you want to grow, if you want to be in a place, no problem. Just be doing, I don't want stress. Okay, it's like this, it's like this. But if you really want to grow, you have to go through the rigors of growth. Just the way you have roses come out from the thorns. Yeah, you have to come through the growth process. Okay, what do I need to learn? What do I need to do? And you have to train children, either as a parent or as an educator, to have the courage, and respectfully so. When you said something earlier to say, we adults, let's say we millennials, we are scared to charge our children to ask questions. And we shouldn't be. Some of us are not on that page anymore. And some people are still there. They rather say, how would you question me? As long as your child is asking the question sensibly and respectfully, with a good sprinkle of emotional intelligence, you're fine. That's it. It doesn't reduce your mighty sitting on a horse of being an adult. And that's why as educators, as parents, as uncles or aunties, we are teaching them, ask nicely. Learn how to use your tone correctly. Know when to speak and how to ask. And if a child is trained with these skills, I'm telling you, they are going to stand tall anywhere they go. Just the way you see children, maybe you're having an event and you have children coming and they are doing an activity. You will pick up within 30 minutes that child who is confident. You will pick up children who have low self-esteem. And amongst them, you still see a child that is neither here nor there, but just needs a little push. Maybe you encouraging that child to say, no, don't worry, just give it a try out. And you find the child doing what you ask them to do. So the courage is a very important trait that we have to give our children so that they can move from their safety nest to the next level. Values, what values are we putting in? Honesty, accountability, and growth. Keep correcting the children. Okay, you want to do this. Okay, how should we do it? These are the things you shouldn't do. You shouldn't push. You shouldn't push anyone. For example, when we have a coach, a football coach, all the trainings they have to, acquire, don't do this. Don't hit somebody as a sore spot in their body. Don't beat anyone. Talk nicely. Yes, you might be upset, but there's a way to express yourself. And those are values that even in some adults, we don't have them. Shouting down people, being mean and rude, taking what is not yours, seem to be the order of the day these days. But it doesn't take off the fact that good values or strong values are strong values and nothing can change them. So when our children do something, we should tell them, why did you do it? Who taught you how to do it? Address the situation. Make them accountable for their actions. So whenever they want to go through the growth process, they will always check themselves to say, okay, I need to do this because I need to be able to do more than I'm doing. But in my doing that, what do I need to put in place? How do I need to go about what to do? Let me ask my teacher if she can help me with this topic I'm struggling with. How do I talk to my math teachers that have not understood anything since resumption? How do I tell my parents? And my mom will say, oh, Olodo, how come other children were scoring 7, 8 over 10? And you came home with 3 over 10, and you're telling me you don't understand. When you shut a child down like that, you've killed the enthusiasm to learn or anything the child wants to do. So, brave spaces are uncomfortable spaces that we all have to attain as long as we want it. So the next slide, please. Principles of brave spaces. Respect differences. I've seen situations where you have children and you have special needs children. Even when you go online these days and you just came across a space where there's a special needs child being taken care of or doing one or two things, and you find adults, you find grown adults trolling a special needs child online, and you just wonder. And don't let us even go into that internet discussion. And you wonder to be like, you go to the person's profile and say that, this person is a mature adult, maybe in her 20s, 30s, or 40s. And you then come to the page of a child with special needs and say, you shouldn't be alive. Or go and end yourself. And you just wonder. You just wonder to say, what's going on? How could an adult say this to a child? If you don't want to see that child, scroll away or block that page. But for you coming on that space, on a space or a space online, just the way everybody has his or her spaces online. As long as you have an Instagram account, you have your space. Do whatever you want on your space. Any space you come across that the algorithm blows on you and you don't like it, instead of you to drop some comments that can make the person go and commit the S, why not just scroll away? Because the internet, to some people, is their brave spaces. You find some people, they are very gentle in real life, but their persona on social media is maybe the energetic one. The aggressive, like we have some actresses that when they are on screen, they do boo, 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 but in real life, they are very calm. So internet is their brave spaces, and we should respect, for example, their boundaries. Just sometimes the classroom should be our children's brave spaces, but at the same time, they need to respect the boundaries of the rules and regulations in the classroom, what they should do and what they should not do. The second principle is own your intentions and impact. Own it. I want to be able to identify this. I want to be able to start coding. It is your intention as a child, then you own it. Who do I need to talk to? Oh, my uncle is into computer science. He knows how to do this. Let me ask him. Those are the things that we have to charge our children with so that they can move from the nest of safety and have the audacity to move into brave spaces. The third one says, be willing to be uncomfortable. Oh yes, growth is uncomfortable. You want to do some things, and thank God these days now, there's nothing cast in stone. We live in a permissionless economy. For example, some people are born into wealthy homes. Maybe their family, old money vibe and all of that, there's money to throw around and all of that. And they are doing great and living their lives. However, you can be a child of a woman in Ajegunle, but you want to succeed. You know that you're wired to succeed. You know that the education that your parents, your poor, quote, parents, are able to give you, they are getting it from struggling. Maybe you're even attending a government school. But you finish school, you say, okay, I want to do this. I know how to dance. And you get your mother, your parents get you a phone, you put on whatever, and you're dancing, doing the choreography. And before you know it, an academy will see your page and tell you to come because they've seen something in you that they know is worth calling you for. Is it cooking you know how to do? Start cooking. You don't need to be known by the biggest brands. Just keep cooking. Make your akamu, make your moi moi, make your whatever. From that, your safe space in the corner of your house. In fact, you can be using wooden whatever to do your cooking. And one day you can just be called by the best seasoning cubes in town to say, we want to endorse you as our ambassador, the permissionless way. And our children, honestly, if you get into their heads, a lot of things, they don't need permission. When they feel strongly about, mommy, I want to cook. Just say, this child, why do you love cooking? Nowadays, they will say, why are you cooking? Yeah, baby, we have taken a command, that's one. But you find that child always wanting to cook. Or you find your boy child loving football. Every time, he's out the door to go and play football. And a lot of times, years past, some parents will kill that zeal in the child. But these days, it's no longer the same. Once you sense that child tilting towards that line, now you even go and look for academy. Or say, go and buy that data. Be showing us that you are jumping. Now, help you be the cameraman. It's an exciting world we live in. You find parents are even the one, do it. I'm doing the video for you. Post it on your page. They are encouraging that talent that the child has. So we need to be very willing to be uncomfortable, and our children as well should not be too laid back. So the next thing is speak your truth and listen deeply. Is your truth is what you know how to do, is what you want to do. So you face it with all the level of brevity you can gather. Okay, the next one I'm about to finish, safe versus brave spaces. Safe spaces, protection, comfort, avoiding conflict. Protection. They have to be in a place that's not that because you want to play football now, I will allow you to go and play football where the jugunus, the bad boy zone no. There has to be a level of protection. There has to be a layer of safety, even in our schools as well, and everything we are doing. So the next thing is avoiding conflicts as much as possible. I remember when I was growing up, my dad would tell me, don't ever be the first to start a quarrel. Don't ever be the one to hit someone. That was the standing rule. And he would say, if anybody now starts trouble with you, or your colleague in class or your friend start hitting you, my darling, do so. When you get home, come and call me. It was a rule. And decades down the line, it's still right there sitting in my medulla oblongata. Don't do this. If it comes to this, do this. I won't finish the line, but it is my own personal guide. And it might not be so for other people. In some people's home, maybe the parents will be like, if anybody doesn't do what you want them to do, hit them. But how are we training our children to ensure they are safe and to ensure that they are not a threat to other children's safety? So the next is brave spaces, challenge. You have to be able to challenge, not rudely, but be able to challenge and ask questions. Even as a parent, your child can tell you, Mommy, why are we still doing this? Is there no way we can try to do this? Don't feel that your authority is being questioned. Like I do tell one or two people, I say, if you're raising your child to be confident, be ready for questioning. Just the way my mother can belong to a particular political party and I choose not to belong to that political party, and my child might decide not to even do any of the two. But the fact that you have the right to know that I can't decide to question XYZ, it's fine. And everybody's rights will be acknowledged and protected. Dialogue, keep talking. The children in our classes, are we talking to them? How are we telling them, no, we shouldn't do this? How are we addressing their actions rather than killing their spirit? The next is also growth through discomfort. Just like a lot of us want to become content creators and we are thinking, if I want to do video now, I have to make my hair, I have to put lipstick, I have to dress up, I have to do the script, yes, you have to do what you have to do as is required by what you want to do. So that discomfort will definitely come because for you to enter into rooms you've not entered before, you have to be equipped with a certain level of courage. Sorry, the next one, building spaces in practice. We have established ground rules. Yes, just the way you come to my class in September, I welcome you in. We jump up and down, we sit down and talk, circle time for preschool. Now let's talk about our ground rules. You ask them as well, what do you think are the things we should do or we shouldn't do in our classes? Get their input, sieve it through, and make your ground rules. From the word go. Just the way I know that if I'm going to an embassy, of course I have to draw, even if I'm using a 100 million naira phone, madam, drop it in the cabinet, you can't take it in. That's the rule. So everywhere that sanity is expected, the ground rules should be clear. Just the way on social media, we have cyber bullying act as well. You bully someone, you're reported, you will face the law. We also have encourage dialogue, not debate. Even if you have a debate or you have quarrels or conflicts, even the greatest wars that happens in countries, maybe some countries that are fighting, there's war going on, at the end of the day, if 1 million people dies or some people get injured or whatever, if whatever war is going on, one day it will end. And the end is still going to be dialogue. Okay, you want this, I want this. Okay, I can't give this up, you can't give this up. Okay, what can I give up? What can you give up? But when it even comes to debate as well, you have to come into debate with a sense of dialogue. Not, oh, you are not right. Oh, you are very wrong. Oh, you don't think. No, you're not. You don't have the right to shut people down like that. As long as you have an issue to address, you face the issue. We also have model vulnerability as a leader. As a teacher in our classrooms, there are sometimes your children will throw some questions at you and you'll be like, okay, that's a good one. Okay, why is so? Fantastic. Okay, can you give me till tomorrow? Let me find out and I'll get back to you. I do tell my children then, I said, I'm not a walking encyclopedia. I don't know everything. So what it is I don't know, I will find out and we'll discuss. But God help you. As long as you promise a child that you're going to find something out and you get back to them, make sure you do so, because they will not let you rest. And for your own credibility as well. So the next page says, benefits of brief spaces, deeper understanding and empathy. Even as an adult, you have friends that the moment you pick up the call and call them, or you send a voice note, you can tell them exactly how you're feeling. As in, without you even processing the information, you can tell them, oh, it hurts like this, it feels like this, I'm feeling like this. Because that person, we've recognized that person to be a safe space for us. So as teachers, our children, a lot of times we even pick up a lot of their emotions that their parents do. We even know the parts of them that their parents do not know. And that's why when something happens in the classroom and you call a parent to tell them, they'll be like, are you sure you're talking about my son? Are you sure you're referring to my daughter? That's not how. And really, for those of us in this sector, we know that children have dual personality. They do have. In fact, there are some things they pick up in the house. They might not act it, and they will act it out in the classroom. And when we tell their parents, they'll be like, oh, maybe it's something that he saw or she saw someone do that. Yeah, that day, then they can join the dots. Yeah. So we should be their safe spaces and their brave spaces when they can tell us, oh, Miss Ireti, I want to be able to do this. I think I can try. Though my daddy thinks this, but I think, because they are coming to you as vulnerable as they can be. The next is stronger communities. Your brave space, your safe space, when you move and transit, you have to be a member of a community. Just like the way we have online. There are so many things going on online. We have those spaces where you learn, you'll be motivated. You have some spaces where you want to enhance your adulthood things, you go there. Where they're talking about marriage, getting married, solving problems. Some angles will tell you about parenting, what you're doing, what you need to do better, and all of that. And some is about beauty and styles, how you want to get better with your makeup, how you get better with your weight. So you choose your own brave space and walk into it with the audacity you can within your community. The third one is real social change. What are you bringing in? What are we teaching our children to bring in? These days, we are not saying, what do you want to become when you're an adult? It's about what problems do you want to solve? What solutions are you bringing in? Some children want to say, okay, I want to build a better app than Uber. I want to build a better app than Bolt. I want to build a better e-commerce platform than Jumia. I want to build a better platform than AliExpress and Temu. And God help you, once a child thinks along that line, as an adult, don't cut off their being brave. Encourage them. Refer them to people who do that on YouTube. Thank God YouTube is there. How to build an app is there. Beginner's class. Some of you won't have cartoon-like characters to describe it to the children. So be an enhancer of children getting into their brave spaces, and they will always remember you. And when they are referring to people who have influenced their lives positively, they will reference you. Growth begins at the edge of comfort, yes. And key message, move beyond safety and embrace courage. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. That will be all.
Thank you very much, Ms. Omotovani. It was a wonderful session. Yes, we appreciate you. Thank you for sharing those wonderful nuggets and insights. And to every educator out there who is listening, this is a charge to you. Yes, we should move beyond safe spaces. As important and as wonderful as safe spaces are, we should endeavor to move beyond the comfort of safe spaces to the growth of brave spaces. That is where we can stretch, grow, and enable our students to become all that they ought to be. A very big thank you to everyone who has joined and stayed through till this time. I want to invite the convener, Bossman Adedokun to share one or two things and before we call it an evening. Thank you very much. Bossman.
Hello.
Hi. Good evening.
Good evening, everyone.
Good
Trust we are
evening, sir.
doing great. Let me start by appreciating our facilitators, our guests for this month, Ms. Uzoma Oduma, and who has been with us. I think should be the second or third month. And Ms. Tolani Azano is joining us for the first time on the TEG Learning Lab Series. Thank you for sharing your thoughts with us. Thank you for speaking with precision and bringing up some of the thoughts we would love to share with educators on how they can help the children they work with. It's important that as we move to cover the curriculum and do all that we want to do, it's also very important that we develop and we groom or nurture students who have a high sense of accountability and agency, the capacity to deal with stuff themselves, the capacity to handle whatever challenges exist within the learning space, the ability for them to speak up, the ability for them to assert themselves, and through the rigor of whatever presents itself within that same space, they're able to forge ahead and get to where they need to get to. So thank you very much for helping us to interpret our thoughts and sharing from your own world of experience too with other educators. I know there might be questions on the YouTube channel. We probably will take that and see what we can do with them in the next edition. We always want to spend at least 90 minutes on this platform and not go beyond that so that people can also prepare for work the following day. So thank you everyone that joined. And thank you to the team too for a job well done. We keep getting better and we keep doing this and bringing knowledge to everybody. And for as many that are joining us on the YouTube channel, you can check the channel. There are videos from previous editions that you can leverage. There are also videos from past conferences that you can also leverage and learn from. On that note, so thank you again to our facilitators for spending this Sunday evening with us. We do appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. We appreciate you too. And thank you to our viewers who have stayed through since 4 p.m. We appreciate you. Olawale Rahim, thank you. I see your thumbs up and thank you. Your message is well noted. And like Bossman has said, we'll look through the comments and then we'll get feedbacks to you as soon as we can in order not to further stretch the session. I invite you to follow us on social media. On Facebook, we're there, on Instagram and on LinkedIn as Thesis Education Group. Do well to follow us and follow. We have quite a number of programs coming up back to back in the very near future. All right. And like we said the last time, we will be very soon unveiling the 100 masters. So yes, if you registered, please be on the lookout. Unveiling will be happening anytime very, very soon. So thank you very much, everyone, for being with us. Until we meet again next month, continue to expand, continue to get better and help your students get from safe spaces to brave spaces. Good evening, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Have you ended?